Okay, so in cycle one, we're going to be identifying patterns and finding common difference and predicting sequences, and then we'll finish off with substitution down here at the bottom. So this is Algebra 1 enrichment. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is what is a constant difference. And I said common difference earlier, but it's constant difference. When you look at a pattern like this, 2, 5, 8, and 11, there is a pattern 2, 5, 8, and 11. And the constant difference, if we remember what difference means in math, difference is subtraction. So when we look at subtracting each of these numbers, 5 minus 2 is 3. 8 minus 5 is 3. 11 minus 8 is 3. Notice how each answer is the same number. They're all 3. That is what's called a constant difference. So we write 3 here. Okay, and that is our constant difference. So we can use that constant difference to predict what the next two numbers will be. So by taking 11, we know that all of these numbers go up by 3. We can just add 3 to 11. So 11 and 3 makes 14. And then add 3 more, and you get 17. Okay, so now let's look. Now sometimes your sequences will actually go down. And in this case, your constant difference is going to be negative. So when we subtract these, you have 73 minus 80. When you do 73 minus 80, you're actually going to get a negative number. Okay, and it's negative 7. So check and see it, make sure it's the same for the rest. So negative 7 and negative 7. It looks like they're all the same. So I know that I have a constant difference of negative 7. Now we can use that again to predict the next two numbers. So 59, take away 7, and the next number will be 2. Okay. And take away 7 from that, and your next number is 45. Okay. Now sometimes, as I scroll up here, okay, sometimes your first constant difference is not the same. Okay. So, and if this is the case, you need to actually go and do the second constant difference. Okay, so as we look at these numbers, and I'll show you how to do this. As we go through these numbers, notice that 1 to 4 is a difference of 3. But when I go from 4 to 9, that's no longer a distance of 3, it's a distance of 5. And then when I go from 9 to 16, that's a difference of 7. And 16 to 25 is a difference of 9. So they're not the same. So you don't have a constant difference in this. Initially, you don't have a constant difference. So what you need to do is write down the differences for each one. So the difference between 1 and 4, I have to put a little triangle here just to show kind of the difference between those two numbers, is 3. And then when I do the difference from 4 to 9, that is 5. And from 9 to 16 is 7. From 16 to 25 is 9. So notice how they're getting bigger. So now I can look at these set of numbers and find a constant difference. Notice here, now there is a constant difference. Okay, if you look at the difference between each number here, you'll notice that it increases at a constant of 2. So it goes up by 2 each time. So I'm going to write a 2 kind of in between these numbers, telling me that they all increase by 2. Now to predict the next number in the sequence, you're going to need to know that these numbers are increasing by 2. Therefore, these numbers are going to increase by more. So these numbers are increasing by 2. Okay. So I know that the next number, since it goes 3, 5, 7, 9, it's increasing by 2. I know that the next one's going to be 11. And that tells me now that my main number is going to increase by 11. So the next number in the sequence is actually 25 plus 11. That's 36. Okay. Now, when I go look over here, I know now, because I have to find the next 3 terms. Okay, see up here, 3 terms. I need to add 2 again to the bottom here, and know that it's going to increase to 13, which tells me that my main number of 36 is going to increase by 13 now. So 36 plus 13 is 49. And then finally we increase by 2 again down here, which means that the 13 now becomes a 15. And so now my next number has to go up by 15. So 49 plus 15, okay, is 64. Okay? All right, now let's look at B. In this case here, it's the same thing. Okay, 8 to 20, the difference. Find the difference here by subtracting. So 20 minus 8 is 12. So I know that this difference here is 12. And then when I go here, from 20 to 30, that difference is not 12 anymore. It's 10. And then I go from 30 to 38. That difference is 8. And from 38 to 44, that difference is 6. So notice here, instead of the sequence numbers going up like this, it's increasing. You'll see here that the differences are actually decreasing, okay, which means they're going down. But what are they going down by? If you go 12 to 10, 10 to 8, and 8 to 6, what are they going down by? Well, it looks like they're going down by 2, so we write that as negative 2. Down by 2, and down by 2. So now I know that my next number here after 6 is going to go down by 2. 2, 4. So my next number after 44 is going to be only 4 more. Instead of 12, 10, 8, and 6, it's not going to be 4 more. So 44 plus 4 is now 48. Okay, and then we go down 2 again. And so now the next number is only going to increase by 2. So when I increase the next number by 2, my next number is going to be 50. Okay, and then the last number, if we go down 2 again, now it's increasing by 0. So my next number is going to increase by 0. Well, 50 increasing by 0 is 50. Now I often get the question, do I have to write the number again? And the answer is yes. It's a sequence, and so you have to write all the numbers that are in there. You can't just go, oh, there's 2 of them, I don't only have to write 1. No, you do have to write both of them because it is a sequence. All right, now let's go down below to something a little bit different here and talk about substitution. Substitution is when you take a known value of something, like here it says x equals 4, y equals 2, and z equals 5. We take a known value of something and we substitute it or replace it with the variables that are in the problem. So when I have an x plus a y, I have an x and a y. The x, we know what the value of x is. They told us that x is 4. So I'm going to replace the x with the 4. So when I go over here, I'm going to, instead of writing x, I'm going to write a 4 because that is what x is. Now, One thing to remember is whenever you substitute something, always put it in parentheses. It may not make much difference now, but it will later. Okay, so always put it in parentheses like this. Okay, now I have a plus sign, and now I have a y, but they gave me the value of y. I know what y is, so I'm going to replace y with its value of 2. Now I can answer it. 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay. Always get in the habit of circling or boxing your answers. As the work gets a lot more complex, it makes it difficult to find your answer when you don't circle it or highlight it or box it, however you want to do. Put stars around it, I don't care. Something to tell me where your answer is. Now we look at B, okay, and B has x over y. So again, I know what x is. I'm going to replace it, with its value here. So x is 4, so I'm going to replace the x with a 4, and y is 2, so I'm going to replace that value. And now I know what the answer is. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Notice I put a box on that one. Now C is the exact opposite. It has y on top and x on the bottom. Okay, so you just flip-flop them. So now I put y, which is 2, on top. Okay, and I put x, which is 4, on the bottom. Now when you do this and type it into the calculator, because some people think that 2 divided by 4 is still 2 for some reason, and it's not. Okay, 2 out of 4 is going to, if you reduce it or if you put it in your calculator, you'll get 0.5 or just 1/2 is what it reduces to. You want to put it in 0.5, that's fine. Okay. As we do D, E, and F, you have a few steps you need to do here. So D, again, X, Y, and Z, I'm going to replace the variables with their values up here. So X is valued at 4, so I put 4 in. Y is valued at 2, so I'm going to put that in. And then I have a minus sign, and then Z is valued at 5, so I'm going to put that in. And then just do the problem. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. Okay. Up here, X and Z are on the top, so I have a value of 4 and a value of 5 on top, like that. And then I put that over Y, which is a value of 2. Now here I have to do some things in order. Okay, when you have fractions, you always want to do one side at a time first. So I have 4 times 5 is 20 on top. Then the bottom is 2. And now 20 divided by 2 is 10. Okay, this is what's called showing your work. Some people don't know how to do it because they're so dependent on their calculator, but this is how you show your work. This is what I want to see on your problems. Okay. And F is very similar. Multiply X times Z and then subtract Y. And we'll save that. We'll do that. Let you do that. Now, the question here says, and as I shift it up here, does it matter what order you complete the operations in D and F? So in D, or D through F, in D, E, and F, does it matter what order I do the operations in? Okay, like for example, on E, could I divide first and then multiply by 5? Or what about on F? Okay, could I take Z and subtract Y before I multiply it times the X? No. You can't do that. There is an order, and we call that the order of operations. So does it matter? Yes. Yes, it does matter. Okay, there's a reason why we have the order of operations. And if you remember from what the order of operations are, I guess the acronym is PEMDAS, or Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, but I want you to actually write out what each one is. P stands for parentheses. Okay. E stands for exponents. M is for multiply. D is for divide. A is for add. And S is for subtract. Okay. This is the order of operations. These are the order that you need to do your problems in to avoid getting the answers wrong. Okay. So that was the notes. That was the notes on finding common differences and doing sequences and doing substitution. This is cycle 1 notes. Your practice that we did in class was actually on the back. Okay, so you had this kind of like cryptogram, I guess you could call it here, with answers up here, and then down here you had some problems. I'm just going to real quick tell you how to do it. Basically, you do the problem, and whatever answer you get, you go up here, find your answer, and then just highlight or shade in the area that your answer is in, and you'll see when you finish there is a hidden message. So if there are any questions, please send me a message on Canvas. Otherwise, welcome to Algebra 1 Enrichment.